Hey, what's going on, YouTube family? Nick Palasz here from Sly Leads. I'm going to be making a quick video today talking about how to do cold email to get clients and why is this important. Number one, you need to be prospecting every single day. If you are a founder who has never been a salesperson before, or if you are a salesperson, you know that that's the case. You need to be prospecting every single day. That includes the days where you want to take off work. That includes the days where you're covering for a teammate taking off work. That includes the days where you are stacked with client meetings, the days where you are hiring and training new employees, the days where you are, you name it, every single day you need to be prospecting. And the reason being is that you need a healthy pipeline. If you do not have a healthy pipeline, you're going to take clients that you shouldn't take just for the cash flow. You're not going to have an abundance mentality around your sales process. You're not going to be in the perfect place where you could just tell people, hey, this is what we do. This is the price, take it or leave it type of situation. You're going to be negotiating with people, having to give discounts, not knowing where your next client is going to come from. You could solve all of those problems with cold email and just keeping a healthy pipeline. So if you want to consistently land more clients in a cost-effective way, the secret is in your inbox or your outbox. Today, we're going to dive into the art of cold emailing and how to consistently book sales calls through outbound. Towards the end of the video, I'm even going to write a script for you so you guys can have that template. But I just want to make sure you guys need to know how to write your own scripts. Do not just rely on other people's templates. One, because everybody copies the templates and you don't stand out. And two, even if a template does work, but you don't know why it works, then what use is that? You're just going to be using a template that everybody else is using. You need to know how to write and use the frameworks that I talk about in this video. The importance of research is number one. Before you even start typing any cold email outbound, you need to understand who you're emailing. Look into their background, their interests, their needs, and the more personalized you could get, the better. There are multiple ways that you could get this data. Three of my favorites just right off the bat are Apollo, ZoomInfo, and Crunchbase. So you could triangulate between these three. I also do use LinkedIn Sales Navigator is another great one as well. So what you got to do here is you got to know who you're reaching out to. Why are you reaching out to them? And keep it in a concise manner, right? Because nobody likes a long email. So the 4 questions everybody's asking when they receive a cold email subconsciously: who is this reaching out to me? Why are they reaching out to me? Do I have the problem that they claim that they could solve? And do I believe that they could solve that problem? If you do a good job with your cold emails, you answer all 4 of those questions in a concise manner, ideally with 50 words or less. And just so you guys know, I'm not like making this up. I do get great results. Here are my results right here. In the last 12 months, I've sent almost 214,000 emails with a 4.5% reply rate. So check that against your other favorite cold emailers. Cool. Let's take a look here. So we're going to just do a random search real quick in Apollo here. Something that typically people are looking for, right? So first thing, you always want to make sure that you hit business email status verified because you don't want to spend Apollo credits for bad data. So I'm just going to do location, United States. Pretty much all of my clients are targeting United States. Also, I'm going to do contact United States. The reason being is that there are some companies that are in the United States, but their contacts are actually in like India, for example. And if they can't afford the service because they're overseas, we only want people who are in the United States with companies who are in the United States. No offense to India. I know a lot of you guys follow me. Cool. So I don't know what industry or keyword you guys are going to be going after. For example, let's just do information, tech, and services. Very, very common space for a lot of our target clients. They're going to be in the SaaS space, right? So this is already a decent start. Now, what you got to get down to is the specific job titles and what pain points those job titles have, right? So for example, if you're reaching out to a CMO, what pain points does a CMO have? But if you're reaching out to a VP of sales, they're 2 different types of messaging that you should be sending out. So whenever I start a campaign, I base it on industry, audience, specifically what job title, and then what pain point do those job titles have. So let's get into it. For example, let's just do Series A and Series B funded companies. And then also let's do job titles. So typically how I do job titles is management level. This is obviously dependent on who you're targeting, what your offer is. But I'm just going to do owner, founder, C-suite, VP, head, and director level. So director level and above is typically where the decision maker is going to sit. departments and job function. So for me, I do founder, executive, marketing executive because I'm selling marketing services, right? And then I also do sales leader because sales works in conjunction with marketing. So just off of that, we have 3.7 thousand contacts that potentially go after here. So Power to Fly, Information Tech and Services, New York, Funnel, Leasing, SaaS for real estate, Executive, People, Staffing and Recruiting. So that one's kind of weird. I don't know why that's even in here, considering these are only 2 industries, but whatever. Let's move on. So if we're reaching out to SaaS companies, specifically owners and founders, it's going to be a different type of pitch as opposed to reaching out to, let's say, like marketing leaders, right? So let's get rid of executive and founder and only talk to marketing and sales executive. We're down to only 500 contacts, right? So whenever I build a list, I want anywhere between 500 and 2,000, potentially on the higher end, 5,000 people. If we're targeting up to 5,000 people, it's already kind of a large umbrella, and what we speak to is not going to be accurate for every single pain point for every single prospect on that list. So if you ever get a not interested or not relevant or this doesn't apply to me, I'm not the right person for this email response, that means that your list was probably too broad and the pain points you were targeting might have been either too niche or too vague, right? So it could be either or. Right. So let's say we're reaching out to a bunch of CROs, CMOs of these types of companies. So let's start writing. So once you have that list, you're going to need to write a subject line. Here are a couple different subject lines that I like using. Company name, X, first name. So the reason I like this one, got this one from Bowtied Sales Guy, actually. Shout out to him. So you do your company name and then their first name. And the reason is for sales framing. You are reaching out from the company and you're singling out a specific person as the recipient. So it already starts to frame as, hey, there's this company who's reaching out to me, right? The recipient has to address the company as a whole, right? So Sly Leads X first name, that's a good one I like. Even just question for first name is always a good one. Tried and true, quick question. What else can we do? Name X, first name, hyphen intro, something like that, right? So the idea of the subject line is just your first impression. They read the subject line, they read the preview text, most likely on mobile, and then they're going to open the email and read the rest of it. Whenever you are writing copy, the first thing that they see is supposed to lead into the second thing that they see. The second thing is supposed to lead into the third thing supposed to lead into the fourth thing supposed to lead into the call to action and drive the desired result. Hey guys, real quick, if you want someone to come into your business and book you qualified appointments, reach out to Sly Leads. Hit the first link in the description here. We've worked with over 20 clients, successfully scaling their outbound systems for a fraction of the cost of an in-house hire. If that sounds like somebody that you need, feel free to reach out and book a call below. So do not sell your service via email. Sell the meeting. These people do not know who you are. You come off as super, super salesy if you use direct sales language. Okay, so these are just a couple of different subject lines. Whenever you're writing an email, you want to keep it short and sweet. And you always want to include some level of credibility, right? So for example, if I'm reaching out to marketing and sales leaders of software companies, I'm going to reference my relevant experience that I had as a software BDR. So after working for Keeper Security, a software company in Chicago, I noticed that many funded SaaS companies build out a sales team that doesn't generate revenue. What's the pain point here? Why am I phrasing it in this exact way? So after working at Keeper Security, so I have previous experience. I noticed that many funded SaaS companies, Keeper was also a funded SaaS company, build out sales teams that don't generate revenue. Of the 15-person SDR team, after a full year going to market, we only sourced 3 deals, me being one of them, for a total of 60,000 in revenue. I estimate the company lost $600K to $1 million building out this team. If you are looking to hire a sales rep, we can provide at least double the output for half cost. Now, so why does this work? After working at Keeper Security, a software company in Chicago, I realized many funded SaaS companies build out sales teams that don't generate revenue. So this is the pain point. We're highlighting the pain point. If they've ever worked at a different SaaS company that built out a sales team that didn't generate revenue, they resonate with that. If they are considering building out a sales team, they are very aware of this potential problem. They are very aware of the need of hiring. They are very aware of the need of interviewing. They are very aware of the need of purchasing technology. They're very aware of the need of having to prospect every day, getting all the right tech for lead sources, getting the right tech for sending, getting the right tech for dialing, getting the right contact information for phone numbers. All that is something that's going on in their head as a revenue leader at a funded software company. When these companies get funding, they're not looking to sit on their hands and just rest on their laurels. They are using that capital immediately to try to multiply it and go to market. So that's why so many people target funded software companies. And honestly, you'd be smart if you went the other way and targeted something that not everybody else is targeting. But let's keep going. After you write up an email, you always want to read it back to yourself out loud. If you don't speak that way, it's not natural and it's not going to be a good email. So after working for Keeper Security, a software company in Chicago, I realized that many funded SaaS companies build out sales teams that don't generate revenue. Of the 15-person SDR team, after a full year, no. Let's change this. 15-person SDR team only sourced 3 deals in a year. All right, I'm going to get rid of this, me being one of them, because I'm just cocky and it's not even necessary, for a total of $60K in revenue. I estimate the company lost $600,000 to $1 million building out this team. If you are looking to hire a sales rep, we could provide at least doubled the output for half the cost. And then you're going to want some sort of call to action here. This is just a sample email. Usually whenever I write an email, I sleep on it and then look at it the next day. You're going to want some level of personalization here. So whether that means going to an individual's LinkedIn page, for example, let's go to the Chief Marketing Officer of Calendly. Okay, so let's look at her LinkedIn and see if we could come up with the first line. So she's been there since January, right? So she's probably a good prospect. Cool. Let's look at this. Hire careers want to see how ThoughtWorks reduced time to hire by 4 days using Calendly. Okay. So boom. Let's do this. Put this on the left. Put this on the right. Cool. All right. So personalization is going to be a merge field, but each prospect should have its own personalized line, right? You could use AI for this, or you could have a manual first line writer, have a VA do that. It typically takes them 5 minutes to write a line, so they could do 12 lines every single hour. So you got to really calculate that. If you want to go the more speed efficient route, but the quality is going to be lower, you could use AI to do this. So let's take a look here. Hey, Jessica, just read your post on LinkedIn about how ThoughtWorks reduced their time to hire by 4 days using Calendly. Great case study. Okay, and then you need to bridge this into the first line of your actual email, right? Because if I just go, great case study after working for Keeper Security, she's going to be like, what? Like this doesn't even relate, right? Great case study. If we could get you more appointments with prospects like ThoughtWorks, would that interest you? And then honestly, you could even do that as the entirety of email 1. So just personalization and then first question, and then email 2. Hey, Jessica, the reason for my last email is we help funded SaaS companies go to market efficiently. Right. So then this is the 1-2 punch strategy where it's, hey, I'm going to ask a really layup of a question. And then I'm going to say the reason for my last email was, or the reason I asked that question was. So for example, one of my clients does HubSpot implementations. The first question that I ask, I look at the lead list technology and I know that these people are using HubSpot. But the question that I ask is, hey, do you use HubSpot? And then if people respond yes, then that opens the door, right? So they respond yes, opens the door. Hey, yes, we use HubSpot. Cool. The reason I asked is because of X, Y, and Z, right? So that's the 1-2 punch strategy. And it works really, really well because a lot of people respond to email 1 just because it takes them half a second to type yes. And then a lot of people respond to email 2 because they're like, oh, why did they ask me if I use HubSpot? Oh, they asked me because of this, right? So this is a potential script. Like I said, you got to keep it short, sweet, concise, and comprehensive. Respect the recipient's time and get to the point quickly. You also need to show value and showcase your expertise and your credibility. For example, I used a case study from working at a previous company before I started Slyly, but you could also use your client results that you've gotten, or if you don't have any client results yet, you definitely need a guarantee or a risk reversal. And then finally, you got to end it off with a call to action. So a good one that I like is just interested, or you could also do makes sense to discuss, what's the best number to reach you, so on and so forth. So every single line in the email should lead into the next line. The last line should be the call to action. Great. So this is the entirety of the email sequence. In summary, successful cold emailing involves thorough research, a compelling subject line, brevity, a clear value proposition, and a direct call to action. It's a skill that can open many doors like it has for me. And not only can you sell your services via email, you could make potential partnerships, get on podcasts, seek funding, you name it. Reaching out to people via cold email, in my mind, is the most cost-effective way to start conversations.